Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. So I have a local cake baker in town that is looking for a cake topper, and it is in the Spider-Man theme. Now I have previously made her a cake topper in the Spider-Girl, and she wanted me to change this over to Spider-Man. So I figured since I'm doing all of that, I could just show you how in the world do I make a Spider-Man cake topper. The very first thing I'm going to need to do though is find the Spider-Man font. I do this for every single design theme out there, especially when it comes to character stuff like this. So like this is Spider-Man. I am on one of my computers that doesn't already have this font, so I'm gonna need to go find it. So all I'm gonna do is open up a blank window in Safari, and then all I do is I search up Spider-Man font. This is going to pop up, and the website that I love to find fonts on outside of Creative Fabrica. Creative Fabrica is a really good website to find fonts, but defont.com is like, I would say that was my #1 website to find free fonts. Very first one that popped up was the Spider-Man font. It's on defont.com and it's free, which is amazing. It gives you two. Now the only problem is that because this is a free font, sometimes your characters aren't all there, like your numbers. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to make a number 5 out of all my characters that I have going on. Okay, so now all I wanna do is press download. It's gonna go into my downloads folder. I'm gonna find that folder. Okay, and then I am just gonna click on the TTF file, double click. My Mac validates all of the fonts. When that's done, then I'm just gonna press install. Okay, so now it's installed into my computer. So I'm gonna go back over into the Spider-Man cake topper file. And if you already have Design Space open, like down here on the Macs, you can see that it is open because there's like a dot here at the very bottom. What you're going to wanna do is you're gonna wanna go into View and then Force Reload. So then it's going to just essentially reload itself. Now, if your design space was not open, this like white dot right here was like, it was gone. You did not have to need to do that step. You could just open up a blank window in Design Space. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to insert a text box, and the name that she needs is Charlie. Okay, I'm going to drag this over so we can see what we're doing, and I'm just going to make it bigger. Okay, I'm going to go over here into font, and I'm going to go over here to system font. So I'm just going to put in Spider, and then here is my font, and I'm just going to click on it. Now I'm just going to click out of that. There is my font. Okay, so I'm going to make the Charlie red, and then I'm going to do an offset, and I want to build that offset that's right there. So I'm just going to take this circle and make just a smaller offset, but I want to make sure that everything is connecting. So you see how there's nothing that's connecting right here? So let me press cancel. Now with my name Charlie, I'm going to Command-Shift-G, which is ungroup. I'm going to ungroup everything. And now I'm going to drag over these letters to make them a little bit closer to each other, so I don't have to have such a large offset. Now that I have everything squished together a little bit more, I'm going to select the name Charlie, go up here into offset and do the same thing I did before. And I don't want a very large offset, so I'm just going to take this dot and drag it down a little bit. That looks good. I like that. So I'm going to press apply, and then I'm going to change this over to a royal blue. Okay, so there is that. Now I'm going to pretend like I don't already have this spider web on this screen, and I'm going to go over here into images, and I'm going to search up spider web. Okay, so all these spider webs are going to pop up. Just find one that you want. I'm just going to click one, and I'm going to press add to canvas. Here's the one that I just added to canvas. However, I know that my cake girl likes that original one that was on my screen, so I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to copy and paste that one original spider web. I just wanted to show you how it is that I found the spider web, but I am going to use my original one. I'm going to keep it the same size. She said I need it the same size. I just need it to be in boy theme. This number 4 is actually the same steps as I did. That's going to be for the number 5. Because this Spider-Man font does not have any numbers, I have to create my numbers. Now I'm going to insert a text box, and I already know it's going to be the letter S. The S to me looks closest to the number 5 with just like a little bit of manipulation. Here is what I did for her already. This is an S. It's just, I had to tweak it a little bit. Okay, so let me click out of that. I'm gonna drag this down and make this bigger. I need to make this bigger so we know what we're doing. Now I'm gonna duplicate this. So Command D, which is duplicate, and I'm gonna get a whole nother one right here. I like the look of this top thing right here. So I'm gonna insert a shape and I'm gonna insert a square. Let me just make this bigger, and I just want this top little thing right here. So I'm gonna put my square right where the bend meets into the S right there. I'm gonna put it right there. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's the Spider-Man. It kind of looks like it's not perfect anyways. So like we don't really need it to be perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna select everything over here and I'm gonna press slice. Now I only want this thing right here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this around like this. And looking at my keyboard looks like it goes kind of like that, right? A little bit. Envisioning that this part right here is not there. This looks like the number 5. Do you agree or do you not? I feel like if we rotated this just a little bit, that this would look like the number 5. What do you think? Do you think that this looks like the number 5? Okay, so then all I'm gonna do is insert another shape and I'm gonna do a square. Now I need to get rid of this bottom portion of my original S. So I'm gonna make this bigger and I'm going to just only cover this bottom portion of that letter S. So you see how everything that was hanging off right here is now covered by that box. That's great. So I'm gonna select that box, Shift on my keyboard and that original S, come down here to slice. And we're gonna drag this over, and this over. And now we're left with something that looks like this. Now these are still 2 separate pieces. So I need to select both of those and I'm gonna do combined and then weld. I'm gonna select everything I do not need and just delete that. I feel like that looks like a number 5. I'm sure you're like, no, I don't think so. Okay, so I want this to be red, and then I'm just gonna do an offset, just the same thing we did before. I'm gonna create a little bit of an offset, and I'm gonna press apply, and I wanna turn that into the blue. Okay, now I'm just going to resize this 5 into my spider web. And for every cake topper, there is a front and there is a back. At least there is for me, because we have to hide some ugly, like sticks and glue and ugliness from the mat. We always have to hide the ugly. So when I have my number 5 positioned the way I want, I'm gonna select everything, Command D, which is duplicate, so you're gonna get a whole nother one, and I'm gonna go down here to combine and then weld. So this right here is going to be my back. Don't forget to do this. We're gonna take our now back and we are gonna flip it horizontally. You'll realize later when we finish this up and we assemble it together why that is so important. Okay, and for this one right here, she wants it 4.6 inches wide. So I'm gonna select everything that's down here and do 4.6 inches wide. Let's make it a little bit bigger. The name Charlie is kind of long. Okay, and the same thing with this. I'm gonna take my offset of my Charlie, Command D, which is duplicate. There it is. And then I'm going to flip it horizontally. Okay, so I'm done with the design process. Before I move forward, I want to make sure and save this. Now I'm going to select everything over here and delete it. Now I'm just going to go into the make screen. Okay, it looks like my spider webs went on 2 different sheets, and I know that I could probably get 2 on a sheet. So I'm just going to move this down, press these 3 dots, move object, and I'm going to move the object over to my first black mat and press confirm. See, most definitely, I could have fit 2 on a sheet. So I'm just gonna try and save space, save some room. Doing the same with this. We wanna just make things tight. You don't wanna waste material. I own a cardstock warehouse and I still don't like to waste material. Going down to the black. Okay, this looks really good. So I am going to be using my black glitter cardstock out of my cardstock warehouse. I'm gonna use a little bit of red for my cardstock warehouse and a little bit of royal blue. So let's go to the machine and cut this, and then we'll get to assembling this. Okay, so this is my black glitter cardstock. The reason why I love my glitter cardstock so much is that there's a 0 shedding, so you're not gonna have any mess anywhere. That is the most amazing thing about my glitter cardstock. And you can also tell I'm not using a full 12 by 12 sheet. I own the company, and I, again, still do not like wasting any type of material. I am a frugal crafter. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this on there. I'm gonna insert it into my machine. Now, my glitter cardstock cuts best for this machine on the Cardstock Plus setting. So if you have an Explorer Air 2, which is what I have, it's gonna be the cardstock. Like if you put your little dowel in between the cardstock, you're gonna wanna go one more up on your thing. So it's gonna be in between the bonded fabric and the cardstock. Okay, I'm gonna press the fast cut mode because I do not have time to cut things slow, and I'm gonna press go. While that continues to cut, I'm just gonna prep my next mat. My next mat is going to be red. So I'm just gonna use my red cardstock and I'm gonna just put this on my mat. Wait, ready for this one to go. Okay, and I always like to check my cuts to make sure that it cuts really well. Perfect, 0 issues. I'm gonna eject. Now I'm going to insert my red. Okay, and then I'm going to select the cardstock option for this. Then press go. I am working with a semi-new mat, and because of that, it's really sticky. So what I like to do is turn this upside down and just peel it away from the mat. That way it doesn't like start to roll your paper. Okay, so this one right here that we welded together is our back. And we have glitter cardstock, right? My glitter cardstock is single-sided. If we were to glue the stick onto this, it would be backwards. If we turn it over this way though, it is now forward-facing, and I can put that stick in a place where it's going to hide the ugly. Okay, now I'm going to insert my blue and press the go button. Okay. So my 5 is going to look like this. So I'm going to need to insert my stick about here on this portion right here. That being said, I am going to be using clear acrylic cake sticks that you find in my cardstock shop. That way, when I glue it, even if you were to see it from the outsides, it will just look like a clear stick. How you use these is you need to use some silicone glue. We're just going to put a dab on where you're going to glue your stick, and I'm going to lay this flat onto my cake topper. Okay, so let's eject this. So now that I have the cake stick glued on top of the back of my cake topper, I'm going to take some of my precision craft glue, and I am just going to put glue on the back of the rest of my cake topper. Now my precision craft glue is not strong enough for acrylic plastic gluing. So after I get done adding all my glue and all the rest of the places, I'm going to then take my silicone glue and I'm going to put it on the top of my cake topper where the stick is at inside. So this is like where you would put your glue, your normal paper craft glue. I'm only going to put the glue where the cardstock is going to hide it. Then I'm going to take this spider web and I'm just going to set it down on top of everything else. We want to make sure that everything gets aligned good so you don't see any of the white, or try to hide as much as the white as possible. Okay, so now the back of my cake topper is blue. So I'm going to take that, just do a little bit of glue on the back of my 5. I'm going to line this up to the back. And then I'm going to take my red 5, doing a little bit of glue. Paper is supposed to lay flat, so you don't need a whole lot of glue. And honestly, if your paper starts to ripple, especially my plain cardstock, if you purchase my plain cardstock and your paper is rippling, it's because you've used way too much glue. So you want to make sure that you don't use a whole lot of glue. Now I'm going to center this onto my offset, and there is a spiderweb cake topper. So I'm going to slide this over. For this one, I'm going to work on the front of the name first. I know we started the back and we built on top of that. What I'm going to do is, I know for a fact that inside every single letter in the middle is going to have a letter. So I'm just going to take my glue, and I'm not going to do a whole lot. I'm just going to go right down the center of every single letter. Okay, so you see that glue? That is as much glue as I'm going to use. So then I'm just going to rearrange all of my letter cutouts on top of the glue. Okay, and then with my palm of my hand, because my palms of my hands are always the cleanest, all I'm going to do is take my palm and just press it down. There is the front of that. So stinking cute. Okay, I'm going to take off this back. Now that we have the front glued, I'm going to roll this over. So you see how this is the back. Now I'm gonna roll this over, and now we can glue on top of this. So we're gonna be able to hide the stick in the middle, and then when we flip this over, it's going to look nice and clean and not ugly. That's what we want. We wanna hide some ugly. So we are going to put a little bit of silicone glue towards the middle. I like to eyeball it. This is not an exact science. And then I'm going to just put this right there. Now, you could use silicone glue through it all. However, the silicone glue does take a little bit longer to dry and is more expensive than just regular precision craft glue. So that's why I like to just do the precision craft glue everywhere else and only use the silicone glue in the spots where I really need it. Okay, now that that's done, we're just going to take the very front and we're going to layer it on top of our cake topper. Pressing down, making it nice and flat. Okay, and there you have it. You have one cake topper that's in a spider web, and the back is all black, so it hides all that ugly from that stick. And then we also have our Charlie cake topper, and its back is blue, and all that ugliness from the glue is all hidden. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to create, and I will see you later.